Assalamu alaikum everyone. क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? अच्छा, आई थिंक आई हैवंट शेयर्ड द फाइल येट. मैं ज़रा फटाफट फाइल लगा दूँ फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं. जस्ट गिव मी 1 मिनट, स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. Okay, so let's begin now. वालेकुम सलाम, वालेकुम सलाम. Also guys, okay. Threshold, beta, I can't say anything about the threshold, okay? There's no point in debating what the threshold is going to be. I've heard mixed reviews of the paper, so let's hope for the best, okay? There's no point in discussing what the threshold is going to be and how many marks you're going to get, how many marks you're going to lose. There's no point. All these discussions are pointless discussions because there's nothing you can change now, okay? So my advice is focus on the paper that is left. Simple as that. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people said it was easy, some people said it was difficult. Okay, so I will not classify it as a very easy paper, but at the same time, not a very difficult paper also. Okay. Okay. What else is going on? So if you get 95, 98, when I get an A star, if I get 87, yeah, that's possible. That is possible. But देखो, my advice is कि जितने भी लोग पूछ रहे हैं ना कि sir, how many marks do I need to score in P4 or in P2 in order to get so and so grade? Don't do that. You're just adding unnecessary stress in your life. If you start with a number in mind, trust me, that's going to be very complicated for you. Okay, and if God forbid you are unable to reach that number, you're just going to feel extremely bad and demotivated. So don't start with a number in your mind. Okay, it's because it's not that you're going to prepare for it any differently. Irrespective of the grade that you want, you're going to make sure, irrespective of what marks you need to score, you're going to make sure that you do as well as possible, right? So please do not start with a number in mind. Yeah, let me do a mock for paper 2. मैं इंशाल्लाह कल schedule करते हैं. Let's do a mock for paper 2. ठीक है? Although this time there will be no AI checking, so you guys can just solve and then we will discuss it. But let's schedule a mock for paper 2 inshallah. So do you hear mixed reviews about papers every year? This year is a bit different. Every time the paper is such that it's not too easy and it's not too difficult, I get mixed reviews. Simple as that. So could you clarify how many decimal places answers must be, as many marks get lost due to... Dekho, the rule, first of all, read the question carefully. Okay, the rule is that you should give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. However, any dollar value is given correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, any dollar value is given correct to 2 decimal places. First question was a scatter plot, second was net of cuboid. Achha, I made a video about what topics to expect in IGCSE paper 4 and what topics to expect in O-level math paper 2. And sets and Venn diagram, I believe, is a topic that hasn't been tested, correct? I say a sets and Venn diagram is a topic that hasn't been tested in O-levels or in IGCSE. Okay. No, beta, I don't do S2 A-level students, I don't do S2. Okay. So let's begin now. S1 इंशाल्लाह I will stream right after M1. ठीक है, मैंने सोचा था कि आज S1 भी रख लूँ, but M1 बहुत करीब है यार. M1 और O-level students have their exam on the 5th, and S1 is on the then M1 is on the 6th. So S1 inshallah I will do right after M1. Acha, before I start, let's begin now. And before I do that, I'd appreciate if you guys like the stream if you haven't done that yet, and also please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that either. And on that note, let's begin. Okay. So, sets and Venn diagram is one topic that we're going to solve. Then we're going to inshallah solve lots and lots of past paper questions of limits of accuracy also. अच्छा, limits of accuracy मेरे पास IGCSE वाला ऐड नहीं हुआ, वो भी कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, and we're mainly going to focus on paper 2 type of questions, meaning calculator based questions. ठीक है, why? Because since that's the paper that's left. ठीक है, you guys can download both the PDFs from the link in description if you want. Okay, and I think enough talk. Now it's time to get to work. So just give me one last second. उसके बाद हम start करते हैं. Okay, so this is a question from May June 2020, paper 1, variant 1. So you're given a universal set which says x such that x is an integer. अच्छा एक second, ये paper 1 का question है ना. Let's first prioritize paper 2 questions, then we'll have a look at paper 1 questions. Yeah, let's do some paper 2 questions. Since this topic is a topic that went completely untested, so I am expecting questions on this topic. Alright, so let's do this one. This is a very recent question. Let's see what it says. This is from May June 2025, paper 2, variant 2. It's from O levels. Okay, let's see क्या बोलता है ये. So this question says, on the Venn diagram, shade the region represented by A intersection B, the whole thing complement. Acha, I have a detailed video on shading. Okay, I have a very detailed video on shading. You guys can check it out. But I'll explain it over here also. So shading करने के लिए, now I know some of you may be able to instantly figure out what the correct answer is, but for those of you who are unable to, okay, so here's what you do. You basically number every single region. Okay, now you identify what is A intersection B. Okay, which region is A intersection B? A intersection B is basically the region which is common in A and B both. So that's number 3. Okay. Now, what are you supposed to shade? You're supposed to shade A region B, A intersection B, the whole thing complement. That means everything except for A intersection B. So everything except for number 3 basically means 1, 2, and 4. So which region are you going to shade? You're going to shade everything except for region 3. And that's it. ठीक है, अब shading आप pencil से भी कर सकते हैं. You can shade the way that I'm doing it. Okay, don't waste a lot of time. ये नहीं कि आप, irrespective of how neat your work is, just make sure that you're shading the correct region. That's all that matters. It's not like you will get an honorable mention or some extra appreciation for spending a lot of time on shading. Just get the job done and that's it. Move on to the next question. ठीक है? Okay, now अगला सवाल क्या कह रहा है? अगला सवाल कह रहा है, अगला part. In a class of 22 students, 12 play a piano. All right. 9 play the guitar. All right. उसके बाद 6 do not play the piano or the guitar. Find the number of students who play both the piano and the guitar. Now, whenever you're solving a question like this, this is what your strategy should be. Bearing. Please all till trigonometry once bearing. Trigonometry, I do plan on streaming. I do plan on doing a stream on trigonometry, polygons, kinematics. Okay, so I'll see if I can. But trigonometry, I've already streamed once. So maybe I'll do a shorter stream this time. Okay. So I will inshallah do a stream tomorrow. And I think we have another day. Tomorrow is the 3rd, then 4th hai. 4th ko to syllabus run through karunga. Yeah, maybe I'll stream a topic that's left. But yeah, let's see. Let's make the most of the time that we have left. Okay, guys? Now, in a class of 22 students, now I'm reading the question again. This time I'm reading it with an objective. The objective is, that I'm going to pick out important information from the question. Okay, so that's 22. We know that the number of students in this class is 22. Now there are two sets. Okay, there are two categories. One is for piano, the other is for guitar. So let's call one circle P for piano and let's call the other circle G for guitar. Now what's the number of students who play the piano? That's 12. What's the number of students who play the guitar? That's 9. Are we given the number of people, number of students who play both? No, in fact, that's what we're supposed to find out. We're supposed to find out the number of students who play both. However, we are given that 6 do not play the piano or the guitar. So that means they do not come inside this circle or this circle, but they are still these students. They are still students in the same class. So that means they will be inside the universal set, but not inside any of the two sets. Now, let's assume that the number of students who play both are X. That means the number of students who will play piano only will be 12 minus X, and the number of students who will play guitar only will be 9 minus X. Okay, how? So let's suppose that the total number of students who play the piano is 12, and out of these 12 students, X students play the guitar as well. So what will be the number of students who play piano only? 12 minus X. Just like that, let's say that the number of students who play the guitar are 9, and out of these 9, X students play the piano as well. So what will be the number of students who play the guitar only? That's going to be 9 minus X. Okay. Now let's add them up. We have 12 minus X plus 9 minus X equals to what? Equals to the total number of students, which is equal to 22. So minus X plus X cancels. 12 plus 9, what's that equal to? That's equal to 21, I believe. 12 plus 9, that's 21. So we have 21 minus X, which is equal to 22. ठीक है? अच्छा, plus 6. हाँ वही मैं कहूँ कुछ गड़बड़ हो गई. Plus 6 तो रह गया. Plus 6. Okay. So 12 plus 9 is 21. 12 plus 9 plus 6, that's 27. So we have 27 minus X, which is equal to 22. Achha, what am I doing? I'm basically taking the total of these students and equating them to the number of the students in the class. So what's X equal to? X is equal to 5. Achha, at this point, make sure you're reading the question carefully. Sometimes the question will ask you exactly what you found. Sometimes the question will ask you something that you will then find after figuring out by using the value that you've just found. So what is the question asking? The question is asking the number of students who play both, which is actually the value of X. So that means 5 is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's have a look at another question. Acha, let me take a few questions. Angles are to be written as angle ABC, or you can write it other way also. So can you let us solve first? Would be a great thing. Acha. Chale, if I do come across a word problem, I'll let you guys solve. The thing is, my time bahut lagta hai. That takes a lot of time. So, chale, if I do come across an interesting question, I'll give you guys some time to solve it, okay? All right. Now, here is the universal set, which contains all the numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. X A is a set which contains X such that X is a prime number. So let's list all the prime numbers from the list above. That is going to be 2, that is going to be 3, then we have 5, then we have 7, not 9. 9 is not a prime number. However, 11 is a prime number. Okay. Then X such that X is a factor of 36, meaning is a number that 36 can be divided by. So 2 is a factor of 36, 3 is a factor of 36, 4 is a factor of 36, 6 is a factor of 36, 9 is a factor of 36, 12 is a factor of 36. Okay. Now, complete the Venn diagram. So whenever you are supposed to complete the Venn diagram, always look for intersection first. Okay. Always look for intersection first. So what is A intersection B? There is 2. 2 is a prime number and also a factor of 36. There's 3, also a prime number and also a factor of 36, and that's it. So there's 2 and there is 3. ठीक हो गया? Okay. Now, what are the numbers that are left in set A? That's 5, 7, 11. So let's place 5, 7, 11. You can place them randomly. Similarly, 2 and 3 is common in A and B both. So that means the elements that are in set B only. That's 4. Acha, 6. Yeah, there's 4. Then there is 6. Then there is 9. Then there is 12. There we go. Okay. Now, after this, don't get carried away and think that you're done. No, there may be some elements, there may be some numbers that are neither in A, neither in B. Okay, so what are those? Let's find out. So we've placed 2 in set A, we've placed 3, we've placed 4 somewhere, we've placed 5 somewhere, we have placed 6 somewhere, we've also placed 7 somewhere. Acha, 8 is something, 8 is a number that we haven't placed anywhere, so there's 8. That's outside of set A, outside of set B, but inside the universal set. Now we've dealt with 9, we haven't dealt with 10. So 10 is also a number that is neither in A nor in B, but in the universal set. Now 11 we've dealt with, 12 we've dealt with. Okay, so what we're left with is 8 and 10. And that's it. How many marks? 2 easy marks. List the elements of A union B complement. Now please don't be tempted to do this directly. It's 1 mark, so you don't want to lose this mark. You want to make sure that you do everything to get this 1 mark. Now let's start with the number of elements that are in set A. Okay, that means all the elements that are in set A, which you can take from here or you can take from here, doesn't matter. So all the elements in set A are 2, 3, 5, 7 and 11. So what about B complement? What are all the elements that are outside of B? That's 5, 7, 11, 8 and 10. Okay, let's write them in an ascending order. So that's 5, 7, 8, 10 and 11. Okay, so I repeat. A means all the elements inside of set A. B complement basically means all the elements outside of set B. So that's 5, 7, 11, 8 and 10. Okay. Now what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to find out intersection or are we supposed to find out union? We're supposed to find out union. Union basically means that we're supposed to combine these two lists. We're supposed to combine these two lists. Can we do this without listing all of them? I don't recommend it. Because 1 mark questions are unforgiving. It's either right or it's wrong. So even if you get 1 element wrong, don't expect half a mark. So make sure you go the extra mile and you make sure that your answer is correct. Simple as that. So we have 2, we have 3, we have 5, then we have 7, then we have 8, then we have 10, we have 11. Achha, are we supposed to list? Yeah, we're supposed to list. We're not supposed to count. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. That's it. That's your answer. Okay, now questions like these are either right or wrong. And considering how this is so easy, you don't want to mess it up. Okay. You can download this worksheet from the link in description. So for the collinearity question, if I prove the vectors are parallel, forgot to write P is a common point. That is a problem. I'm afraid that is a problem. Okay. That is a problem. Achha, because that's not the only condition for two vectors to be, for it to be collinear. You also have to show that there is a common point. So I'm afraid that's a problem. Okay. But ab ho gaya, so ho gaya, there's nothing to worry about now. Okay. Now A intersection B complement. Now once again, notice that we don't have to do all the hard work all over again. We have listed A, we have listed B complement. Okay. Except this time what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to look for what's common between the two. So what is common between A and B complement? What's common between A and B complement is this. There is 5, there is 7, there is 11. Now don't get carried away and think that this is the final answer. We're supposed to write down how many elements are there in A intersection B complement. So how many elements are there? That's 3. Okay. Achha, I'll take some of your questions. There is no link of this worksheet? Really? Okay, my apologies. If there is no link, मैं भी डाल देता हूँ. इसमें इतना परेशानी की क्या बात है? I'll just upload it right now. There is no link. है तो link. Maybe that link is old. है तो बेटा क्या हो गया यार क्यों टाइम ज़ाया कर रहे हो? There is a link. ठीक है. Just refresh the stream. Maybe आपने शायद बाद में देखा. Just refresh it. There you go. Okay. Add maths stream. Add maths देखो मैं इंशाल्लाह start करूँगा. It is my commitment to you guys इंशाल्लाह कि हम add maths का majority of the syllabus I will stream live. Don't worry. But let me just get through with M1 and O-level math. ठीक है. उसके बाद इंशाल्लाह I'll double down on add maths. We'll have multiple streams or maybe lengthy streams. So don't worry. इंशाल्लाह add maths भी हो जाएगा. आप लोग टेंशन ना लो. ठीक है. All right. Now let's do question number 17. x such that x is an integer. अच्छा बेटा mensuration मैं नहीं कराऊंगा. I've already done mensuration. Okay, if you want to do mensuration, you can watch my old stream. There's no point in streaming something that I've already done, so it's best you watch my old mensuration stream. I will, however, stream the topics that I haven't done a stream on yet and they haven't been tested. Okay, so universal set is x such that x is an integer from 1 to 15. So let's make a list of the universal set. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to do it all the way. Take it, you can just write down a couple, then write dot dot dot, and then write the remaining. Okay. Achha, x such that x is a multiple of 3. Now, how many multiples of 3 do we have that are inside this universal set? So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Now, how many factors of 30? Factors of 30 basically means numbers 30 can be divided by. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 5, there's 6, no 7, no 8, no 9, no 10. No, actually there is 10. And then there's 15. Okay. Why aren't you responding? Why am I responding to what? Beta, dekho, okay. I've talked about this before. I'll mention it again. It may be, okay, it is possible that the paper that person is claiming to sell is a genuine, is the actual paper, but it's also very likely that it's a scam. Because paper होता ही है, जब पेपर एक दो दफ़ा लीक होता है तो लोगों का थोड़ा ट्रस्ट बढ़ जाता है लीक्स पे, ठीक है, एंड पीपल टेक अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ दैट and they start scamming people. Okay, they start claiming that they have the leaked paper and they start scamming people, and people do end up falling for it because they know that since paper has been leaked a couple of times, so there is a high chance that someone who is claiming to have the actual paper does actually have the genuine paper, the actual paper. So people do end up falling for a scam. ठीक है, so opportunities बहुत मिलेंगे आपको इस this time of the year, so don't fall for it, please. सही है. That's all I can say. And if you do come across something suspicious, please report. Simple as that. The sooner you report, the better it is. The longer you wait, ठीक है, ये नहीं कि मैं पहले फ़लाँ को भेज दूँ, मैं इससे डिस्कस कर लूँ, मैं पेपर पहले ख़ुद सॉल्व कर लूँ, फिर मैं रिपोर्ट कर दूँगा. नो, रिपोर्ट इट एज सून एज पॉसिबल. ठीक है, आप लोग भी वेट करते हो कि चलो एक्चुअल पेपर हो जाए, फिर हम देखते हैं कि आता ही नहीं आता. वो भी एक प्रॉब्लम है. ठीक है, इफ़ यू डू कम अक्रॉस समथिंग सस्पिशियस, जस्ट रिपोर्ट इट इमीडिएटली. सिंपल एज दैट. ओके. अच्छा, प्लीज़ आंसर टू व्हाट? बेटा ये प्लीज़ आंसर के बजाय ना, just it's best that you send your question again. I'm getting 99 out of 100 P1. Better let's hope that the examiner is lenient. Okay, let's hope the examiner is lenient. Simple as that. Write down the elements of set A. So set A has 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. That's it. Okay, so that's the answer to this question. Now, complete the Venn diagram. Okay, let's complete the Venn diagram. So how many elements do we see in set A and in set B? We see 3. Okay, because 3 is a multiple of 3 and is a factor of 30. We see 6. And 9 to nahi ho sakta, 12 bhi nahi ho sakta, 15. Yeah, 15 is something that's common in A and B both. Okay. Now, brackets lagane hain if they're not already placed. No, you don't need to place the... If you're talking about this, no, you don't need to place the bracket over here. Okay. Now, what are the elements that are left in set A that are not in set B? So there is 9 and there is 12. Okay. Now, what are the elements that are in set B only? There is 1, there is 2, 3 we've already dealt with, 5 we haven't placed yet, so there's 5, 6 we've already placed, then there is 10, and 15 we've already dealt with. Now, what are the numbers that are neither in set A nor in set B but are still inside the universal set? So 1 हो गया, 2 हो गया, 3 हो गया, 4 नहीं आया अभी तक, so there is definitely 4, 5 आ गया, 6 आ गया, 7 नहीं आया, so there is definitely 7. I don't see 8 in A or B. I see 9, I see 10, I don't see 11, I see 12, I don't see 13, I don't see 14, I see 15, and that's it. Okay, there you go. Sir, in asymptote question, I wrote the right value, but I didn't write y equals to. Is that okay? No, but of course that's not okay. Okay. You have to write down y equals to or x equals to, because my understanding is the question was you had to write down the equation. So अब आप equation का मतलब कि x और y दोनों involved होता है. ठीक है. So if it's y equals 2, you have to write y equals 2. If it's x equals 2, you have to write x equals 2. ठीक है. अच्छा, what else? What other question is it that I can answer? Yeah, I'll do those set questions, don't worry. Sir, will 100 be accepted by the examiner in P1? What do you mean 100 be accepted? Wasn't the answer 90 something? Itna margin of error nahi hota. If the answer is 90 and your answer is 100, then it's hardly, it's plus minus 1 or 2 degrees, not more than that. Okay. All right, now x is an element of A union B, the whole thing complement. Find the smallest value of x. Okay, so first of all, let's find out A union B, the whole thing complement. A union B, the whole thing complement basically means everything that's outside of A and B, okay? Basically all the numbers that are neither in A nor in B, okay? And we've already listed those elements. Those are 4, 7, 8, 11, 13, and 14. Now what's the smallest value? The smallest value is 4. That's it. Find A intersection B complement. Okay, so let's start with A. How many elements do we have in set A? That's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Achha, what about B complement? B complement basically means all the elements that are outside of set B. So that's 9, 12, 4, 7, 8, 11, 13, 14. अब आई नो कुछ लोग बोल रहे होंगे कि सर ये इतनी आप लंबी क्यों कर रहे हैं, वाई डोंट यू जस्ट डू इट डायरेक्टली. बेटा ये आप लोग अभी जो डिस्कशन कर रहे हो इसमें से मेजॉरिटी एरर्स जिनके बारे में आप बात कर रहे हो वो डायरेक्टली सवाल आंसर करने का नतीजा है, ठीक है, जिसको हम ईगो सॉल्विंग बोलते हैं. तो अवॉइड ईगो सॉल्विंग, गो द एक्स्ट्रा माइल एंड make sure that the marks that you're getting are 100% secured. Okay, you don't want to lose these marks, especially when something is so easy. So I can see 9 is common in both and I can see 12 is common in both. Anything else that's common in both? No. So A intersection B complement is 9 comma 12, and how many elements are these? These are 2 elements. There you go. That's it. Achha, let's do another question. I'd like to do some of those word problem questions. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do ये वाला word problem करते हैं, ठीक है, और एक word problem और करते हैं, और कुछ shading से related questions भी करते हैं, ये भी करते हैं. Although this is paper 1, but still relevant. Okay. All right, now let me have a look at some questions. Stream on probability. Probability hasn't been tested, but I've already done streams on probability, so I'm not going to be repeating that. Dekho, the topics that I will be streaming on, inshallah, in the coming days: kinematics. I'll be doing a stream on kinematics. I'll be doing a stream on polygons. मैं इनको merge करके कर लूँगा. And what else is left? What else? Just and I'll take a mock also. ठीक है, एक आध mock भी कर लेंगे हम. So that I can test you on all the topics that are left, ताकि आपकी अच्छी practice हो जाए उनकी, and that's about it. अच्छा, मुझे ये confirm कर दें आप लोग कि was there a question on graph sketching in IGCSE where you had to find out the equation of the asymptotes or stuff like that? Was there a question? Sir, is there one really annoying question about sets that you might grace us with? Tell me what that question is. No, there wasn't. Okay. If there wasn't, then you can expect one. Okay. Acha, what's that? Sets didn't came in P2. Yeah, if sets didn't come in P2, it will come in paper 4. For sure. Okay, now let's resume. Only one mock. Just one mock. So फिर क्या करें, एक भी ना करें. We can do one tomorrow, but I don't want to do a mock on the 4th. It's not a good idea. 4th को I'd rather do a syllabus run through or something. So let's do a mock tomorrow. या अगर आप लोगों ने कल ही back to back 2 mocks करने हैं तो we can do that also. करने वैसे कल back to back 2 mocks बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएगा वैसे. कल क्या है? कल Sunday. I have an M1 stream. But you guys really want to do back to back 2 mocks? Yes. Okay. नहीं syllabus run through तो हम save कर रहे हैं देखो. So tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow is the 3rd. Monday is the 4th. 5th is your exam. So tomorrow we can have 2 mocks वैसे. And 4th को we can do a syllabus run through. But then I won't have time to stream the remaining topics फिर. Polygons ये सब रह जाएगा. तो वैसे we can drop the syllabus run through वैसे. And maybe परसों तो देखो 4th को तो mock करना is a horrible idea. Okay? Doing mock on the 4th is a horrible idea. 97 instead of 097. देखो बेटा, there's an instruction that you haven't followed. Now let's just hope the examiner doesn't penalize you. Simple as that. चलें एक काम करते हैं, कल एक मॉक तो रखते हैं, फिर देखते हैं. ठीक है, एक मॉक तो रखते हैं कल, फिर देखते हैं. सही है. Alright, in a college, students can study French, Spanish, and Arabic. A group of 25 students are asked which languages they study. Some of the results are shown in the Venn diagram. Alright. All students who study both Arabic and Spanish also study French. Okay. 7 students study French only. 7 students study French only means that we're going to place 7 over here. अच्छा पहले ज़रा ये पढ़ लेते हैं. All students who study both Arabic and Spanish also study French. Okay, Arabic and Spanish also study French. ठीक हो गया. All students who study both Arabic and Spanish also study French. ठीक है, so that means there is no Arabic and Spanish only. ठीक है, so this is going to be 0 over here. Okay, that's what it means. जो बेटा जो मॉक होगा वो ऑब्वियसली कैलकुलेटर बेस्ड होगा. ठीक है, जिस मॉक की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ वो ऑब्वियसली कैलकुलेटर बेस्ड होगा. आई एम नॉट गोना टेस्ट यू ऑन समथिंग दैट हैज़ ऑलरेडी बीन टेस्टेड. ठीक है. ओके, नाउ 8 students study Arabic. Now if 8 students study Arabic, that means 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus x equals to 8. So what will be the number of students that study Arabic only? What will be the number of students that study Arabic only? We'll work that out by doing 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus x equals to 8. So 4 plus 1 is 5. 8 minus 5, that's equal to 3. So the number of students who study Arabic only, that's going to be 8 equals to 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus x. So x is equals to 3. And these are the number of students that study Arabic only. Okay, now use the information to complete the Venn diagram. We've done that. Achha, but there is one thing that's still left, and that is this. We're given the total number of students, okay, and we haven't filled the number of students that study French and Spanish only. So here's what we can do. इसको हम थोड़ी देर के लिए y कह देते हैं. So 7 plus y plus 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 3 plus 2 equals to what? Equals to 25. Okay, so let's just make sure that we have considered all the terms. 7 plus y plus 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 0 plus 3 plus 2, that's equal to 25. Okay, अब use your calculator and work out the value of y. So 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 1 plus 3 plus 2. So 25 minus 22, that's equal to 3. So that means the number of students who study French and Spanish only, that's equal to 3. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now let's see what is left. 2 of the 25 students are selected at random. Find the probability that they both study Spanish only. So emphasis on the word Spanish only. Now how many students do we have that study Spanish only? That's 5. And what is the total number of students? That's 25. So 5 upon 25 into 4 upon 24. Now, if probability hasn't been tested, you can expect a question based on probability and sets and Venn diagram. Relative frequency, my understanding is, has been tested. So, relative frequency, अगर आपका टेस्ट हो गया है, तो it's possible. Sorry, 5 into 4 9 नहीं होता, 5 into 4 20 होता है. So it's possible कि you get a question based on relative frequency. You get a question based on sets and Venn diagram, and you get a question on sets in Venn diagram. All right, now. So how 0 in Spanish and Arabic? Okay, read the question. If you read the question says all students who study both Arabic and Spanish also study French. That means जितने भी students Arabic or Spanish दोनों पढ़ रहे हैं, they also study French. So that means there are no students who study Arabic and Spanish only. That's why we have 0 over here. What are the number of students that are studying Arabic and Spanish? That's just 1. Okay? And because the question said that the number of students who study both Arabic and Spanish also study French, this means that the number of students who study Arabic and Spanish only are 0. Okay? So remember, you're doing a past over sets where you give a question that was only 1 mark that required a logic that elements intersection. You're right. That was actually prior to 2020. इस तरह का एक question था जिसमें you're supposed to find out the maximum and minimum. बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हो, इस तरह का question था. Let me first solve the word problems that I have planned right now. ठीक है, फिर I'll open up such a question also. Okay? Now, so in the collinear vector, if you show that this vector is k times of the vector, wouldn't it prove that they're collinear? But it doesn't prove that they're collinear because it could be that they're parallel also. So you have to distinguish parallel from collinear. Okay, you can't just leave it there. जैसे दो lines का gradient same है, so it's possible that the lines are parallel. It's also possible that the points are collinear. So you have to distinguish it. Okay? How to prove that they're collinear? You have to show that they have a common point. You have to show that they have a common point. That's how you prove that they're collinear. So if I found the ratio between the vectors in IGCSE vectors paper, would that be sufficient? Dekho, the point is it doesn't matter. Okay, the point is it doesn't matter. Whether it's sufficient, insufficient, whether it's right or wrong, the point is it doesn't matter. Okay? So now let's move on and focus on what's left. A theater offers a singing lesson, a dancing lesson, and an acting lesson. A group of 40 people are asked which lessons they take part in. Acha, ab let's solve this question, guys. Okay? I'm not going to read the chat for as long as I'm solving this question. Okay? तो आप लोग बोलते रहें जो बोलना है. I'm just focusing on this question. A group of 40 students are asked which lessons they take part in. Some of the results are shown in the Venn diagram. All right. All 40 people take part in at least one lesson. What does that mean? If all 40 people are taking part in at least one lesson, that means there are practically no students that are in neither. Okay, that are taking part in neither lesson or that are basically outside of these 3 sets that we have, which are singing, dancing, and acting. 3 people take part in a singing lesson and an acting lesson, but not a dancing lesson. So 3 people take part in a singing and an acting lesson only. So where will I place this 3? Here. Okay, so singing and acting, but no dancing. So that's why we place them here. 7 people take part in a dancing lesson only. So dancing only means right here. Okay, the part of the set which has no intersection with any other set. 19 people take part in a singing lesson. That means the number of people who take part in a singing lesson, not singing lesson only. Okay, there's a difference between singing lesson and singing lesson only. So that means the total number of people inside of this set is 19. Now, with the help of this 19, I can't find out this or this. So let's hold on to this 19. If I can find out the number of people who take part in all 3, with the help of that, I can find out the number of students who take part in singing only. Or maybe if I can find out the number of students who take part in singing only, with the help of that, I'll be able to find out the number of students who take part in all 3. Okay, so let's keep reading further. 4 times as many people take part in a singing lesson only as those who take part in all 3 lessons. Okay, so 4 times as many people take part in a singing lesson only as those who take part in all 3 lessons. This means that if the number of students who take part in all 3 are X, there will be 4 times as many who take part in singing only. Okay, so 4 times as many people take part. अब ये सब्र से पढ़ने वाले questions हैं, इनको you can't afford to doom solve them and you can't afford to ego solve them. So you have to make sure that you're fully invested into this question. 4 times as many people take part in a singing lesson only as those who take part in all 3 lessons. So what is singing lesson only dependent on? It's dependent on those who take part in all 3 lessons. So whatever it is dependent on, that is what you take to be equal to x. So if if the number of students who take part in all 3 lessons are x, what will be the number of students who take part in singing only? That will be 4x. Why? Because it says it's 4 times as many. अच्छा, अब इससे फायदा क्या हुआ? The benefit is that now we have all the elements inside the singing set, and we also know its total. Okay, so we have all the elements inside this set, and we also know its total. So we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to do 4x plus 6 plus x plus 3 equals to 19. So we have 5x, which is equal to 6 plus 3 is 9. 19 minus 9 is equals to 10, which means x is equals to 2. If x is equals to 2, that means now we know that the number of students in all 3 are 2, and the number of students in singing only are 8. अच्छा, अभी भी देखो, there is still one part of the Venn diagram that's missing, and that's this. So how will we work this out? Let's call this y for a second. Now let's add all these up, and let's equate them to the total number of students, which is equal to 40. अच्छा, अब as far as this entire set is concerned, we know that it's equal to 19, so no point in adding them up individually. Let's just take 19. So 19 plus 7 plus y plus 10 equals to the total. So I repeat, the total of this set, which is equal to 19 plus 7 plus y plus 10. There's 0 outside these 3 sets, so there's no need to write plus 0. And this is equal to the total number of students, which is equal to 40. So that means y is equals to 40 minus 19 minus 7 minus 10. So y is equals to 4. That means the number of students who take part in acting and dancing only is 4. And that's it. ये हमारा Venn diagram complete हो गया. Job done. Use set notation to describe the subset with 10 people. So 10 people. These are the 10 people. अब इसको कैसे describe करेंगे? चलें, I'd like you guys to answer this. मैं in the meantime, although I'm pretty sure nothing important. There's nothing important in the chat that I've missed. But in the meantime, I'd like you guys to answer this question. Why aren't you responding? Because I said for as long as I'm solving this question, I'm not going to pay attention to the chat. I am paying attention now. So अब देखते हैं क्या चल रहा है यहाँ पे. So if I got 8 A's, which school should I go? But whichever one you can afford. Simple as that. P4 mock कल करेंगे इंशाल्लाह. Yes, I didn't see the paper, but I saw all the questions that were tested. So yeah, in a way I saw the paper. Achha, okay, here's the question. Describe the subset with 10 people. Describe the subset with 10 people. जो मैंने red से highlight किया है ना, उसको ज़रा describe करें. Was the question in IGCSE having... I don't remember the answers, beta. Beta, the thing is, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is that it's done. Okay, that's it. What matters is that it's done, and that's it. So will you do M1 question with a string and circle and ring? I've already solved that question. I solved that question in the last class. Can topics repeat in both papers? Topics, so if there is a I've made a video on this. Check that out. Okay. I've talked about all the topics that you can expect. Zara, मैंने कल ही वीडियो डाली है, YouTube पे भी डाली है, Instagram पे भी डाली है, जाके देख लो. ठीक है, you'll find out. Do you think it was easy? Again, doesn't matter what I think. What matters is कि paper हो गया. All right. Why remove those papers? Because they're not irrelevant anymore. Okay, now. Use set notation to describe the subset with 10 people. Now notice that this is basically a region that is common in D union S, complement and set A. Okay, so basically D union S, that means dancing and singing ko combine karke, if I do a complement, what am I looking at? So if I say D union S, the whole thing complement, that means I'm looking at everything that's outside of dancing and singing. Okay, but the region that I want is the region that's outside of dancing and singing, but the region that is common with A only. So that means D union S, the whole thing complement, intersection A. Okay, so D union S, the whole thing complement, okay, intersection A. अच्छा, इसका एक और जवाब भी होगा, ठीक है, इसका एक और जवाब भी होगा. इसका एक और जवाब होगा कि D complement intersection S complement intersection A. So this is also an answer. Okay, why not union? Because union, it will include this region also. If you make a union, union means that you're combining them. You're combining the region that is outside of D and S and inside of set A. So ये आपका union बन जाएगा. That's not what we want. Okay. All right. Now, let's do another word problem question. When to add numbers in Venn diagram? When it's representing the number of students, that's when you add. Okay, when it's representing the number of students, that's when you add. Like for example, if let's say here the question said, okay, write down, let's suppose the question said NA. अब यहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे? यहाँ पे we will add these numbers. Why? Because these are not multiples or factors. ठीक है, they're not individual numbers. These numbers are representing quantity. That is when we're going to add. Why won't we union A? बेटा करके देख लो, ठीक है. आप union A अगर करोगे तो फिर क्या होगा? आपका पूरा A आ जाएगा. ठीक है, अगर आप यूनियन करोगे तो फिर आपका पूरा A भी आ जाएगा और आपका D और S के बाहर वाला एरिया भी आ जाएगा. That's why we are not going to take union. ठीक है, रट्टे नहीं लगाओ. Understand the logic. The logic is that you want the region that is outside of D and S. Okay, the region that is outside of D and S, which is common with A. So common means intersection. So how do you find out the region that's outside of D and S? By doing D union S, the whole thing complement. Okay, now what do you want? You want the region that's outside of these two sets, dancing and singing, but is common or overlapping with set A. So that means intersection A. ठीक है, अगर आप union करोगे, so that means you're combining both the sets. So ये पूरा set आ जाएगा आपका. That's why you don't do union. Okay. All right. Now, let's do another word problem. Let's see what it says. A shop sells hat, scarves, and gloves. All right. A group of 40 people are asked which items they buy in the shop. Some of the results are shown in the Venn diagram. All right. 2 people buy all 3 items. All right. So if 2 people buy all 3 items, what does that mean? That means this region is 2. Okay. Those people that buy both a hat and a scarf also buy gloves. Okay, those people that buy a hat and a scarf also buy gloves. That means there are no people who buy hat and scarves only. Okay, make sure that you place the 0. Don't leave it blank. Make sure that you deliberately place the 0. Okay, so I repeat, what does this mean? Those people that buy both a hat and a scarf also buy gloves. That means there are no people who are buying a hat and scarf only. Okay, if somebody buys a hat and a scarf, they also buy a glove. So that means this hat and scarf only is equals to 0. 4 people buy exactly 2 items. So if 4 people buy exactly 2 items and we know that hat and scarves are 0, the number of people who buy hat and scarves are 0, the number of people who buy hat and gloves are 0. So the question is, where am I going to place the 4? The only place left is this. ठीक है बेटा, कोई भी पेपर की इस तरह की कोई न्यूज़ होगी, it will make its way to you. ठीक है, I'm sure you're not living under a rock. Okay, so whenever there is such a news, it will make its way to you. There is no need to refresh your feed every second and find out what the latest update is. You're just wasting your time and everybody else's time. So if there is a news that's relevant for you and it's important enough, it will make its way to you. Okay? Now, use this information to complete the Venn diagram. So we've completed most of the empty spots except for this. Okay, now what goes here? Let's call this x for a second. So x plus 0 plus 2. Actually, no need to do a plus 0. That's just waste of time. X plus 2 plus 4 plus 10 plus 3 plus 5. Let me just make sure I've considered all all the numbers. So 5, no, so 2, 4, 10, 3, and 5. कुछ रह तो नहीं गया? नहीं. What is this equal to? This is equal to the total number of people. And that's 40. So let's find out the value of x. So we have 2 plus 4 plus 10 plus 3 plus 5. That's equal to 40. Let's subtract that from 40. So 40 minus answer, that's equal to 16. So that means the number of people who buy gloves only are 16. That's it. Okay? Now, work out n. अच्छा ये किसी ने पूछा था ना कि हम ऐड कब करेंगे? You'll find the answer to your question now. S intersection H union G, the whole thing complement. Okay, so let's do it step by step. First, let's make a set of H union G, or let's see what are all the elements in H union G, the whole thing complement. Okay, let's look at all the elements in H union G complement. That means H union G complement means everything that's outside of H and G. So that's 10 comma 5. That's 10 comma 5. Now what about set S? In set S we have 10, 0, 2 and 4. No need to write 0, but chalo, for good measure let's write it anyway. Now what are we supposed to look for? We're supposed to look for whatever is common between them. So S intersection H union G, the whole thing complement, and there's only 10. Okay, so what's an answer going to be? Is it going to be 1 or 10? It's going to be 10. Why? Because these numbers are already representing the number of students. Okay, so that is why our answer is going to be 10. It's not going to be 1. Why? Because these numbers are not such that they are multiples or factors or prime numbers or anything of that sort. Okay, so that's why our answer is going to be 10 only. अच्छा चलिए ये सवाल करते हैं. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to solve this. In the meantime, मैं ज़रा chat पे देख लूँ क्या चल रहा है. If you get an angle in trig, for example, for finding the area, Fahad, you use your answer key. Okay, use the answer key of your calculator to make sure that you don't end up rounding off prematurely. Okay, now. We'll do a stream on differentiation. Hasn't differentiation already been tested? Wasn't there a question on equation of tangent? Have I ever considered teaching further math? No. I'm already not able to do justice to the subjects that I'm teaching. So I don't think I'm going to add another one. Will it come in graphical question? Will what come in graphical question? Beta puri baat bolo. So I don't know. Will what come in graphical? Sir, please help us with our leaked paper scamming business. Sure, Manal. I will start AdMaths right after this 6th. 6th ke baad we'll do back-to-back AdMath streams, don't worry. So topics for paper 4 variant 3. I haven't been able to figure out the topics that have been tested in paper 2 variant 3. So I can't really say the topics that will be tested in paper 4 variant 3. But I'll tell you, if you've done enough past papers, you know that the small topics that have already been tested in one paper will not be tested again. Okay? All right, so anyone who has solved this question? यहाँ आप लोग सब बातों में ही लगे हुए हो? But I've already made a video on the topics that are more likely to come in Maths P2. Make sure to check it out. ठीक है? अच्छा तो मुझे बता भी दें आप लोग आंसर्स सॉल्व करके खुद ही रख लिया आप लोगों ने अपने पास. चले मैं सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ. Pay attention. In a sports club of 40 members, 22 members run. All right. So that means we have 22 runners. All right. 24 cycle and 14 sail. All right. 3 cycle and sail but do not run. So 3 cycle and sail only. That means we're going to place the 3 over here. 9 run and cycle but do not sail. That means I'm going to place the 9 over here. That's run and cycle only. 5 run and sail but do not cycle. That means we're going to place the 5 over here. Acha, 6 run only. So that means that's 6 right here. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now complete the Venn diagram. Okay, let me just make sure कि मैंने कुछ miss तो नहीं किया. 22 members run. Okay. Now, considering that we are given the number of members who run in total, and that's equal to 22, that means with the help of that, I can find out the number of people who do all 3. Okay, wo kaise? Let's call it X for a minute. So 22 will be equal to 6 plus 5 plus 9 plus X. So what's X equal to? 6 plus 5 plus 9, that's equal to 20. So X is equals to 2. So that means the number of people who do all 3 are equal to 2. Now, how is this going to help? Here. अब ये total हमें पता है किसके बराबर है? We know that this total is equals to 24. Okay, so let's call this Y for a second. That means 9 plus 2 plus 3 plus Y equals to what? Equals to 24, which means now we can find out the value of Y. So 9 plus 2 plus 3, that's 14. 23 minus answer, that's equal to 9. Okay. Now wait, 9 plus 2 plus 3. Wait, 9 plus 2 plus 3. That's 14. 24 minus 14, that's equal to 10. So that means Y is equals to 10. Okay. So there we go. Acha. Now we also know the number of people, the number of members who sail. We also know the total of sailing. So let's call this Z for a second. And now this means that's 5 plus 2 plus 3 plus Z equals to 14, which means now we can find out the value of Z, which by the way is representing the number of people who sail only. So 5 plus 2 plus 3, that's equal to 10. 14 minus 10, that's equal to 4. So that means Z की भी value आ गई, which is 4. And that's it. job done. ठीक है. अच्छा, job not done actually. Now we need to find out the number of people who do neither. ठीक है. ऐसे भी तो कुछ लोग होंगे that do neither running nor cycling nor sailing. So how can we figure that out? Let's do that. So let's take the total for running, that's 22, then plus 10, plus 3, plus 4, and let's subtract that from the total, which is given to us as 40. Okay, so I repeat, instead of adding 6 plus 9 plus 5 plus 2 separately, हम इसका पूरा total ले लेते हैं. ठीक है, but please don't make the mistake of doing 22 plus 24 plus 14, because when you do that, you end up double counting the number of people that are common. So always count individually. So 22 is the total of running, plus 10 plus 3 plus 4 equals to plus, अच्छा बाहर जितने भी हैं उनको हम a कह देते हैं, plus a equals to the total which is equal to 40. Okay, so I repeat, this total which is 22 plus 10 plus 3 plus 4, then the number of people who do neither, which is a, that's equal to what? That's equal to 40. Now with the help of this, let's find out the value of a. So 22 plus 10 plus 3 plus 4, that's 39, which means a is equals to 1. And that's it. We now have found the number of people who do neither, which is equal to 1. And that's it. That's your answer. So why did you take 5 minus x and 3 minus x? I did not take 5 minus x and 3 minus x. I did not take 5 minus x anywhere. So please once again explain the notation, like, I mean, how did we represent only running? Only running means that they're not going to be common with any other set. Running only ka matlab ye hai ki they just run. They're not part of the set who do running and cycling or running and sailing. So that is why we're going to place it in the region which represents just running, which is not intersecting with any other set. So running only. Okay? All right. Now, then there is a part B of this question which says use set notation to describe the shaded subset in the Venn diagram. अच्छा, कौन बताएगा ये? कौन बताएगा ये? How should we round our answers? Read the question. If the question has a specific requirement, you follow that. And if the answer is non-exact, you give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Okay? So what region is shaded, fellas? What region is it here that we have that's shaded? We have to use that method? No, we don't really have to use any method. We can just do trial and error and figure it out. So can I say F... No, wait. Can I say G intersection H? Can I say that? Can I say G intersection H or H intersection G? Can I say that? If that was the case, then all this would be shaded. But wait a minute. We need to exclude the part that is overlapping with F. So how do we exclude that? How do we exclude something? So we're going to put a bracket around this. Okay? And we're going to say intersection F complement. Okay? अच्छा, अगर आप यहाँ पे ब्रैकेट नहीं भी लगाओगे तो कोई बात नहीं. ठीक है? ब्रैकेट अगर आप यहाँ पे नहीं भी लगाओगे तो कोई बात नहीं. ठीक है? Even if you do it without the bracket, it's still acceptable. Okay? So I repeat. And please understand the logic here. Do not memorize. Okay? I'm afraid a lot of people just memorize. That's why they mess it up. So G intersection H is this region. Correct? G intersection H is this region. So G intersection H. But now what we have to do is we have to exclude the part that is overlapping with F. Now how do I exclude something? You do intersection and you put a complement on the set that you want to exclude. What do I want to exclude? I want to exclude F. So I'm going to do intersection F complement. And that is the correct answer. ठीक है? अच्छा, अब वो लोग अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो लोग जो बोल रहे हैं कि यूनियन क्यों नहीं हो सकता. अब देखो बेटा, डाउट में रहने से बेहतर पता है क्या है? डाउट में रहने से बेहतर ये है कि आप करके देख लो. ठीक है? Those of you are saying कि यूनियन क्यों नहीं कर सकते हम, तो बेटा डोंट सिट ऑन डाउट्स. ठीक है? आई हैव पीपल हु हैव बीन मैसेजिंग मी एंड सेइंग कि सर अगर हम आपकी ये पूरी स्ट्रीम देख लें तो हमारा ये टॉपिक कवर हो जाएगा. एंड देव लिटरली वेटेड 2 days फॉर मी टू रिप्लाई. ठीक है? नाउ आई डोंट नो व्हाट दे डिड इन दोज 2 days, बट आई एम अज्यूमिंग कि दे वर जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर एन आंसर बिफोर दे बिगिन वॉचिंग दैट स्ट्रीम. ठीक है? तो अब वो क्या है, उन्होंने 2 दिन अपने इसी इंतज़ार में निकाल दिए कि सर जवाब देंगे तो विल डिसाइड वेदर वी शुड वॉच दिस एंटायर स्ट्रीम और नॉट. ठीक है. सो उससे लाख दर्जे बेहतर ये था कि यू फिगर इट आउट. Okay, you figure it out yourself. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're now going to figure out whether G intersection H union F complement is correct or not. Okay, so now we're going to figure out कि अगर हम ये shade करते हैं इस पे तो do we get the same answer or not. ठीक है, अब देखते हैं. So let's do G intersection F. इसको हम नंबर करके कर लेते हैं. So G intersection H में कौन कौन आ गया? G intersection H में I hate to say it but 6 और 7 आ गया. सही है. अच्छा, फिर F कॉम्प्लीमेंट में कौन कौन आ जाएगा? F कॉम्प्लीमेंट में आपका आ जाएगा 1 4. अच्छा वेट, 8 में लगाना भूल गया तो 8 लगा देते हैं. तो 1 आ गया, 4 आ गया, 7 आ गया और 8 आ गया. ठीक है, 1 आ गया, 4 आ गया, 7 आ गया और 8 आ गया. ठीक हो गया. अच्छा, अब हम क्या बना रहे हैं इसकी? वी आर मेकिंग अ यूनियन. ओके, वी आर मेकिंग अ यूनियन. सो इफ आई डू G intersection H union F complement, let's see what we get. So union means that we're supposed to combine, so we're going to get 1 4 6 7 and 8. तो अब मुझे बताओ वही आंसर आया या डिफरेंट आंसर आया? डिफरेंट आंसर आया. ठीक है, completely different, not just slightly different but completely different. 1 4 6 7 and 8. ठीक है, तो याद रखो जब भी यूनियन के साथ यूनियन के बाद किसी भी सेट पे कॉम्प्लीमेंट आ जाए तो आपका यूनिवर्सल सेट भी शेड हो जाता है. ठीक है, ये आप although I don't like you guys making such standard rules, just memorizing and not putting in effort, but you can do that now. Okay, whenever you have a union and then you have a complement on a certain set, the universal set also gets shaded. ठीक है. अच्छा, what's that? No, of course I'm not going to do that. But beg karo, bribe karo, beg, borrow, steal, whatever. I'm not going to do that. Okay, now let's do. अच्छा, आई थिंक बहुत हो गया यार सेट्स एंड वेन डायग्राम. चलो एक और कर लेते हैं. सबसेट आ गया, फिर हम लिमिट्स ऑफ एक्यूरेसी स्टार्ट करते हैं. In the Venn diagram, shade the region represented by P intersection Q complement. Okay, P intersection Q complement. अब again इसको भी तमीज़ से करते हैं. Let's not rush into it. Okay, don't ego solve. So P, what comes inside set P? That's 2 and 3. What comes in Q complement? That is 1 and 2. ठीक है. So what is P intersection Q complement? Let's have a look. P intersection Q complement basically means 2. So that's it. What region are we shading? We're shading this region. Oops. There we go. Okay, now a club has 32 members. 14 of the members are female, 18 of the members are male. 5 of the females have black hair, 6 of the males have black hair. Achha, universal set represents the members of the club. So what's that equal to? That's equal to 32. Let's write that down. This is equal to 32. 14 of the members are female. So 14 आपके female आ गए. 18 are... Actually, no, wait a minute. So we're given set F, but I'm not going to do it. ठीक है, आप लोग कुछ भी कर लो, I'm not going to do it. ठीक है. 14 are females and 18 are male. All right. 5 of the females have black hair, 6 of the males have black hair. So that means females with black hair will be 5. So they go here. Okay, so this is basically representing females and people with black hair. That's 5. Achha, 6 of the males have black hair. So that means the total number of people who have black hair is equals to 11. So that means यहाँ पे 6 आ गया. ठीक है. Now, how many females do we have that don't have black hair? That's 14 minus 5. What's that equal to? That's equal to 9 ऐसे ही है. So that's 9. ठीक हो गया. अच्छा, then there's got to be a certain number that is neither female nor black hair. तो वो हम कैसे निकालेंगे? That's going to be 9 plus 5 plus 6 plus x equals to 32. Let's find out the value of x. So 9 plus 5 plus 6, 32 minus answer, that's equal to 12. So that means the number of people outside are 12, and that's it. That's your answer. ठीक है. Sir, there is an awfully difficult question for this topic. There has been actually. ठीक है, एक सवाल है, इसका ज़रा पुराना सवाल है, करते हैं इसको. ठीक है, फिर हम आगे चलते हैं. लास्ट ईयर मैंने सॉल्व किया था. Yeah, सवाल, we can do this. Okay, I found some interesting questions. ये करते हैं, फिर we'll take a small break, then we'll do limits of accuracy, inshallah. So this question, this is easy. Okay, let's do these questions. Okay, now Acha, what's going on? So can you post the salt paper or answers of the most questions so we can check our answers? Salt paper? What do you mean salt paper? You mean the जो एग्ज़ाम अभी हुआ है उसके तो सॉल्यूशंस ऑलरेडी इतनी जगह आ गए हैं. अच्छा, I'd like you guys to solve this question, ठीक है? Okay, guys. So, क्या status है? Okay, let's solve this question. Let's quickly have a look at this question, see what it says. In a group of 100 students, 80 study Spanish and 35 study French. X students study Spanish and French. Y illustrates neither Spanish nor French. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा, फिर उसके बाद it says, अच्छा बेटा अगर आप सॉल्ट पेपर की बात करिए तो मेरे पास सॉल्ट पेपर नहीं है, ठीक है? I don't have the salt paper. All right. I did what? Okay. Now, express in set notation the value of x in S intersection F. Express the value of y in set notation. Okay, so that's S union F, the whole thing complement. So the answer of part A is pretty straightforward. It's S union F, the whole thing complement. That is basically what's representing y. Okay? Because y is neither Spanish nor French. So that's S union F, the whole complement. Basically, the part that I want to solve is part C. So first, let's quickly get done with part B. Then the part that I want to solve is part C. So in part B, the sum of the students will be equal to 100. That means 80 minus x plus 35 minus x plus y equals to 100. Now, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to make an expression for y in terms of x. So minus x plus x cancel ho gaya. What are we looking at? We're looking at 80 plus 35. That's equal to 115. So that means y is equals to 100 minus 115. So that's equal to x minus 15. Okay? So that is the answer to part B. Part C dekho. Part C says find the greatest possible value of x. Now, what is the greatest possible value of x? The greatest possible value of x means the greatest possible number of students who study both Spanish and French. ठीक है, इसको हमें greatest करना है. Now, look at it this way. The number of people who study Spanish are 80 and the number of people who study French are 35. अब मुझे बताओ इनमें से what can be the maximum number of students who can study both? What can be the maximum number of students that study both? Can it be least? Oh, it says least. Sorry, I didn't realize that it says least. ठीक है, so least निकाल लेते हैं, फिर हम greatest देखें. Greatest value of y मांग रहे हैं. Okay, sorry. It says least. Okay. So in order to find out the least possible value of x, हम एक काम करते हैं. Let's assume in order to find out the least possible value of x, first let's make x the subject. So what is x equal to? X is equals to y plus 15. So if I want to find out the least possible value of x, that means y must be equal to what? Y must be equal to 0. So if y is equals to 0, that means x is equals to what? X is equals to 15. ये क्या आ गया? ये हमारे पास least possible value आ गई. Why? Because if you make x the subject, x is equals to y plus 15. The least possible value that x can take will be when y is 0. Obviously, y can't be negative. The least possible value of x will be when y is 0 because we have to minimize this entire expression. Now, there's nothing we can do about this plus 15. What we can do, max we can do is we can assume that y is 0. And if y is 0, that means x is equals to 15. So then comes part 2. Part 2 says the greatest possible value of y. Okay, so part 2 says the greatest possible value of y. In order to find out the greatest possible value of y, I will have to come up with the greatest possible value of x. Okay, in order to find out the greatest possible value of y, I need to find out the greatest possible value of x. So first, let's try to figure out the greatest value of x. अब greatest value of x क्या होगी? Greatest value of x will, remember this is a standard rule. You guys can make a standard rule out of this. If you have two sets and you want to maximize the intersection, okay, if you have two sets and you want to maximize intersection, it's always the smaller set that can be equal to the maximum intersection. Okay, so I repeat. अब मुझे ये बताओ 80 students study Spanish 35 students study French. Now, I can't say that 80 students study both Spanish and French. I can't make these 80 students study French. Why? Because the total number of people that are studying French are already 35. Okay? But if 35 students study French, it's possible that I can say, it's safe to say that these 35 students can also study Spanish, assuming that these 35 students are studying French or coming from the number of students who are studying Spanish. Okay, so I repeat. The number of students who are studying French, if we assume that they are a subset of the number of students who are studying Spanish, that way we will have the maximum possible value of x. ठीक है, मैं आपको एक simple सी मिसाल दे देता हूँ. Let's suppose the number of students who study Spanish is equal to 80 and the number of students who study French is equal to 35. Okay, now pay attention. So can I say, मैं ये कर सकता हूँ क्या कि मैं फ्रेंच का सबसेट, फ्रेंच का सेट बनाऊँ 35 और उसके अंदर मैं 80 स्टूडेंट्स को डाल दूँ? Can I do this? Can I do this, that I make a set of French 35 and I say that is the largest set, and I say out of these 35 students 80 study Spanish? Of course not. That's not possible. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, but what I can do is the opposite. I can say that let's assume that the number of students who are studying Spanish are 80, and of these 80 students there are 35 that are studying French. Okay, this is possible. And if this is possible, then what is the maximum number of people who are studying both? That's equal to 35. ठीक है, ये क्या आ गया मेरे पास? ये मेरे पास greatest intersection आ गया. So the standard rule is that the greatest, in order to find out the greatest intersection, always make the smaller set a subset of the larger set. Okay, so I repeat, in order to maximize intersection, always make the smaller set a subset of the larger set. Okay, ये standard rule. You guys can memorize this if you want. So the greatest value of x is equals to what? Is equals to 35. That means y is equals to 35 minus 15, which means y is equals to 20. That's it. Yes, I do know Ms. Zahida Parveen. Yes, I do know her. To find the greatest possible value of y, we use the expression y is equals to x minus 155. Since the greatest possible value of x is 35, from C part 1, we substitute. No. In C part 1, we found out the least possible value of x. We did not find the greatest possible value of x. In C part 1, we found out the least possible value of x. ठीक है, ये बेटा बहुत ही कोई पुराना पेपर है. This is May June 2004 paper 2. Yeah, तब तो आप लोग पैदा भी नहीं हुए थे. Pretty sure, right? अच्छा, एक और सवाल है which I'd like you guys to solve. क्या काफ़ी है वैसे? I think that's enough sets and Venn diagram. अच्छा, अब let's do limits of accuracy. एक नमाज ब्रेक ले लेते हैं, ठीक है? उसके बाद let's do limits of accuracy. Let's take a small namaz and water break. Then we'll do limits of accuracy. 5 years too late. Wait a second. अच्छा, सो नमाज और टी ब्रेक के बाद मिलते हैं, ठीक है? आई एम फाइंडिंग सेट्स वेरी हार्ड, तो बेटा दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आई डिड द स्ट्रीम फॉर. S1 बेटा वी विल स्टार्ट राइट आफ्टर M1, ठीक है? सो AS and A2 स्टूडेंट्स, डोंट वरी, S1 वी विल स्टार्ट इंशाल्लाह राइट आफ्टर S1 और राइट आफ्टर M1, okay? Right after M1 in O-level math. All right, so We will take a namaz break, then we'll resume. Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's continue. We were done with sets and Venn diagram. I do encourage you guys to practice the remaining questions. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do some limits of accuracy. Limits of accuracy is another topic that went untested in paper 2 of O levels, paper 1 of O levels, and paper 2 of IGCSE. So expect this topic in paper 2 of O levels and paper 4 of IGCSE. Okay, so let's begin. Zara cycles a distance of 500 meters correct to the nearest 5 meters. Acha, if you've seen me do any question related to limits of accuracy, you would have noticed that beta, I don't have the answer. Zara, I don't know how many times I've answered this question, but I don't have the answer to क्या बोलते हैं the papers. ठीक है, मैंने इधर उधर देखे हैं. I've looked at the topics, but I don't have all the answers. Okay, and मैं भी आपको advise करूँगा कि now don't look at the answers. Simple as that. Now, so 500 correct to the nearest 5 meters. So in order to find out the upper bound and lower bound, remember, you always divide whatever it's rounded off correct to the nearest, whatever it's rounded off to, you divide that by 2, you get 2.5. To find out the upper bound, you add. To find out the lower bound, you subtract. ठीक है? अच्छा, ये पहले ही करके रख लो. Irrespective of whether you want the upper bound or lower bound, this is something that I would encourage that you do immediately. So the lower bound is equals to 497.5. Okay, so the upper bound is 502.5, the lower bound is 497.5. Then it says that this takes 24.7 seconds, correct to the nearest 0.1 second. So first I'm going to write 24.7. Then I will see what is this correct to the nearest. This is correct to the nearest 0.1 seconds. I will divide this by 2. Now if I want the upper bound, I will add. Okay, so for the upper bound, I will add. So we get 24.75. And for the lower bound, I will subtract. Now, I know some of you might say, sir, we may not need both. And it's very likely, in fact, that you will not need both. But it's a good habit. So we have 24.65, which is the lower bound. Okay. Now, then it says, calculate the lower bound of our average speed. Ab dekho, a lot of doom solvers, you know what they do at this point? Speed is equals to distance upon time. So this is what a doom solver would do. So they would see that since they've asked for the lower bound of the speed, they would just simply take the lower bound of everything. They would take the lower bound of the distance. They would take the lower bound of the time, thinking that taking the lower bound of everything will give us the lower bound of the speed. Is this correct? Yes or no? Acha, kya chal raha hai? No, I'm not ignoring you. Sir, बताएं फहद को that business students are smart. Please tell. बेटा कोई सब्जेक्ट लेने से आप स्मार्ट नहीं हो जाते, ठीक है? आप स्मार्ट होते हैं एफर्ट करके. सही है, स्मार्ट होते हैं आप पढ़ लिख के. तो जस्ट टेकिंग अ सब्जेक्ट डज नॉट मेक यू स्मार्ट, ठीक है? इफ़ दैट वाज द केस देन एवरीबडी वुड जस्ट गेट 0.05 होगा. हाँ, दैट्स करेक्ट, 0.05 होगा. बट खैर एटलीस्ट आई फिगर्ड आउट द अपर बाउंड लोअर बाउंड करेक्टली, ठीक है? सो इट्स अ पॉइंटलेस डिबेट कि ये सब्जेक्ट लो तो स्मार्ट हो जाओगे, ये सब्जेक्ट लो. सब्जेक्ट लेके फिर पढ़ना भी होता है, फिर ही आप स्मार्ट होंगे. So 0.05 ठीक हो गया. Okay, now so but business students भी smart हो सकते हैं. नहीं, just by taking a subject you're not smart. Okay, लेकिन हाँ, you can be, see, people are street smart without studying any subject. So subject लेके smart होना ये pointless सी बात है. So yeah, if you learn that subject and if you apply that subject, then yes, that is what makes you smart. ठीक है, आप बहुत ही कोई अच्छा सब्जेक्ट ले सकते हैं और रट्टे लगा के पास हो सकते हैं. पास क्या, you can get brilliant grades, but if you haven't really learned anything, learned how to apply it, तो it's pointless, right? So सब्जेक्ट लेने का क्या फ़ायदा. अच्छा, अब मुझे बताएं, is this correct? Is this correct? No, this is wrong. Okay, just because you're asked लिमिट्स ऑफ एक्यूरेसी आया था पेपर 1 में? आई डोंट थिंक लिमिट्स ऑफ एक्यूरेसी आया था पेपर 1 में. नहीं आया था, राइट? या. सो दिस इज़ रॉन्ग, ठीक है? दिस इज़ बेसिकली व्हाट डूम सॉल्विंग लुक्स लाइक, ठीक है? What you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to think, which I'm afraid Not a lot of people do. Since you want the lower bound of the average speed, okay, now you have two quantities, one in the numerator, one in the denominator. You will make sure that the value in the numerator is as small as possible and the value in the denominator is as large as possible, and that way the end result will be as small as possible. Okay, now by minimizing the denominator, that means you've made sure that the value that you are dividing is as small as possible, and by maximizing the denominator, you will make sure that the value that you're dividing it with is as large as possible. So that is how you're going to get the lower bound of the average speed. That means I'm going to pick the lower bound of the distance, which is 497.5. So that's 497.5, and I'm going to divide it by the upper bound of the time, which is equal to 24.75. Okay, so let's work this out. 497.5 divided by 24.75, what's that equal to? That's equal to 20.101010. So we're going to write 20.1 meters per second. वैसे तो ये एक exact value है, so I will not encourage कि आप इसको इसका आंसर कैसे दिया हुआ है. 20.1 दिया हुआ है तो फिर तो सही नहीं है. इसका आंसर होना चाहिए फ्रैक्शन फॉर्म में होना चाहिए या मिक्स नंबर फॉर्म में होना चाहिए, considering that this is the exact value. क्वेश्चन नंबर क्या था, मैं यही भूल गया. Okay, OE, सही है. So either 21.10 or anything that's equal to that, because it's a recurring decimal. ना recurring decimal का मतलब कि ये एक exact value आ गई. So this is equal to 20 whole 10 over 99 meters per second. Stream for symmetry. No, I don't think I'll be doing a stream on symmetry. It's just a waste. Maybe I'll do a stream of symmetry with some combined with some other topic. ठीक है. So, but not just a standalone stream on symmetry. ठीक है. All right, let's do another question. The width of a rectangle is 5.4 centimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. So again, as soon as you see correct to nearest 0.1 or correct to nearest whatever, divide that whatever by 2, so you get 0.05 in this case. If you want the upper bound, that's going to be 5.45. And if you want the lower bound, that's going to be 5.35. But here, since you want the upper bound, 5.45 is the answer. Okay? 20.10 acceptable hai, but the thing is, you will notice sometimes the marking scheme is just contradicting themselves. And they are not contradicting, but they don't give all possible answers. Rule ये है कि हम कोई भी non-exact चीज़ को round off करते हैं. अब 20.10 ये जो हमारे पास answer आ रहा है, ये exact आ रहा है, so it does not make sense to round this off. It's best that you write it in mixed number or you write it in fraction form, which is why you notice that they have written OE. That means anything that's equal to that is something that they are accepting. The perimeter of the rectangle is 26.4, correct to the nearest 0.1. Calculate the lower bound of the length of the rectangle. Okay, now hold on. Before you jump to calculating the lower bound, a good idea would be to make perimeter the subject. To make the length the subject. So perimeter is equals to 2 times the length plus width. Now you want the lower bound of the length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all make length the subject. So P upon 2 is equals to L plus W. And now if I make length the subject, the length is equals to the perimeter divided by 2 minus the width. Okay? Minus the width. Now, if I want the lower bound of the length, तो मुझे बताओ, should I take the upper bound of the perimeter or the lower bound, and what about the width? So what do you think of graphing tablet for a study, sir? What do you think of... You said the same question. एक ही चीज़ आपने 5 दफ़ा लिख दी. I think it's a good investment. Okay. But close to exams, don't rely on it too much. Close to exams, when you're practicing yearly past papers, do it on a physical piece of paper. Okay. So we will take the lower bound of the perimeter and we will take the upper bound of the width. जब कम से कम चीज़ में से ज़्यादा चीज़ subtract करेंगे तो end में कम से कम बचेगा. Okay, so we'll make sure that whatever it is that we're subtracting from is as less as possible, and whatever it is that we are subtracting is as great as possible. That is how we're going to be left with something that is as less as possible, or in other words, lower bound. Achha, ab let's have a look at the perimeter. The perimeter is 26.4, correct to the nearest 0.1. Let's divide that by 2. So we get 0.05. Now let's take the upper bound of this, so that's going to be 26.45. Let's take the lower bound of this, so that's going to be 26.35. What do we want? We want the lower bound. So this is what we're going to go with. And what do we want for the width? We want the upper bound, so we're going to go with 5.45. So we're going to do 26.35 divided by 2 minus the upper bound of the width, which is 5.45. Let's work this out. So 26.35 divided by 2 minus 5.45, that's equal to 7.725. Do not round off this answer. Okay, do not round off this answer. Why? Because if you round off this answer, that's incorrect. This is an exact answer. Okay, only non-exact answers are the ones that you're supposed to round off. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now let's do another question. Let's do this one. The mass of mixed nuts and seeds in a bag is 500 grams. Correct to the nearest 10 grams. The mass of nuts in the bag is 350 grams. Correct to nearest 5 grams. Calculate the upper bound and lower bound of the mass of seeds in the bag. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. 500 hai. Okay, this is correct to the nearest 10. Let's divide it by 2. What's that equal to? That's equal to 5. Let's calculate the upper bound. The upper bound will be 505. Okay, that's the upper bound. Let's calculate the lower bound. The lower bound will be 495. Okay, then 350 grams, which is correct to the nearest 5 grams. Let's divide that by 2. That's 2.5. So let's calculate the upper bound. That's going to be 352.5. Then let's calculate the lower bound, which is going to be equal to 347.5. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now, अच्छा, this 500 is basically nuts and seeds, and this 350 is basically nuts. Okay, now what do you want? You want the upper bound, or you can call this total also. So basically the mass of nuts plus the mass of seeds is equals to the total. अच्छा, सबसे पहले हम एक काम करते हैं. Since we want the lower bound and the upper bound of the mass of seeds, let's make seeds the subject. So seeds will be equal to total minus the nuts. If I want the upper bound of seeds, what am I going to do? For the upper bound, I will take the upper bound of the total and I will take the lower bound of the nuts. So let's do that. Let's take the upper bound of the total. Total का upper bound क्या होगा? Total का upper bound होगा 505, from which we're going to subtract the lower bound of the nuts, which is 347.5. Let's see, what do we get? 505 minus 347.5. What's that equal to? That's equal to 157.5. ये upper bound आ गया. अच्छा, then if you want to do the opposite, if you want to find out the lower bound of the seeds, what are you going to do with the total and what are you going to do with the nuts? So if you want the lower bound of the seeds, exactly what we did in the previous question, we will take the lower bound of the total and we will take the upper bound of the nuts. So what's the lower bound of the total? The lower bound of the total is 495, from which we're going to subtract the upper bound of the total, which is 352.5. So 495 minus 352.5, that's equal to 142.5. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा, आप देखते हैं भाई chat में क्या चल रहा है. Is this calculator allowed? Which one? The one that I'm using? Yeah, of course, that's allowed. Loki sir, I was planning to take further math, but you don't teach it. Dekho, further math, I will only suggest that if you feel like your entire life of math has been a piece of cake and you haven't really found yourself to be challenged at some point, at any point, ठीक है, then only then I suggest you take further math. And given that you've taken ad maths also, okay, if you've taken ad maths, if you've taken, you obviously have maths in all levels, ठीक है, but if you haven't been challenged at all in your life, तो फिर आप ले लो, otherwise I don't recommend it. ठीक है? Okay, let's do another question. So how do we know we have to take upper bound or lower bound in this specific type of questions? But we use our common sense, okay, which I'm sure is something that we're not used to very often, but here we'll have to. Okay, I'm sure you may be looking for कि मैं याद कर लूँ कि ये हो तो ये, if this then that, if that then this, but sadly there is no way we can do that. We have to use our common sense. Okay. Now, The height of a cylinder is 13 centimeter, correct to the nearest centimeter. The radius of the base of the cylinder is 4.5 centimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. Calculate the upper bound of the volume. Okay, now volume, what is volume equal to? Volume is equals to pi r square h. So what is the volume dependent on? Volume is dependent on the radius and height. Now there's nothing we can do about pi. Pi is a constant, but we'll make sure that we take the upper bound of the radius. Okay, we'll make sure that whatever radius that we take is as great as possible because values are being multiplied. So how do you make sure that the end result is as great as possible? If you're multiplying multiple values, you will make sure that the values that you're multiplying are as great as possible. That's how you're going to get the upper bound of the volume. Now let's talk about the height. Height is equals to 13, correct to the nearest centimeter. Nearest centimeter means 1 centimeter. If you want the upper bound, you will add, so you get 13.5. If you want the lower bound, you will subtract, you get 12.5. Then we talk about the radius. The radius is 4.5, which is correct to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. Let's divide that by 2. That's 0.05. If you want the upper bound, you will add, you get 4.55. If you want the lower bound, you'll subtract, you'll get 4.45. Now, in both cases, we want the upper bound. So we'll use the upper bound to calculate the volume, and that's how we're going to get the upper bound of the volume also. So volume is equals to pi into r square, which means 4.55 square, into the height, which is 13.5. Let's see, what do we get? So pi into 4.55 squared into 13.5, that's equal to 878.024, which correct to 3 significant figures will be 878. So 878.024, which correct to 3 significant figures will be 878. There you go. अच्छा बेटा, कोई भी यहाँ पे अब लीक की बातें करेगा ना, ठीक है, I'm afraid I'll have to hide you. So as simple as that. मैंने अपनी क्लास से ऑलरेडी कुछ स्टूडेंट्स को रिमूव किया because they were just pretending to have gotten a hold of the leaked paper. It's not funny. ठीक है, you end up disregarding a lot of students who have been working hard. So anyone claiming that the paper is leaked, anyone claiming to have the leaked paper, I'm afraid I'll have to hide you immediately. ठीक है? So I hope you're clear about that. All right, now let's continue. So question number 10 says, Chen's journey to work is 37 kilometers, correct to the nearest kilometer. अच्छा, कोई एक ज़रा different सा question ढूंढते हैं because सारे questions काफ़ी boring से हैं. ये करते हैं. This is nice. Kinematics, maybe I'll do kinematics tomorrow, inshallah. Maybe I'll do kinematics. Why not lower bound of height? If I multiply a smaller value, then the end result will also be smaller. I want the end result to be as great as possible, so that way I'll make sure that all the values are as great as possible. Okay, now the diameter of a 5-cent coin is 21.22 millimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1. Okay, so as soon as you realize that this is a limits of accuracy question, immediately find out the upper bound and the lower bound. So this will become 21.25, that's the upper bound. The lower bound will be 21.15. The diameter of a 10-cent coin is 17.9, also correct to the nearest 0.1 millimeter. So divide that by 2, that's 0.05, which means the upper bound will be 17.95 and the lower bound will be 17.85. So that's the upper bound and that's the lower bound. Model makes a line of 10 5-cent coins and 10 10-cent coins. Calculate the upper bound difference between the lengths of the two lines. Okay, so we want to calculate the difference between 10 cent coins minus 10 5-cent minus 10 cent. 5 cent के उसके पास 10 coins हैं, ठीक है, so 10 5-cent coins minus 10 10-cent coins. Okay, and what do we want? We want the upper bound of the difference. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the upper bound of the 5-cent coins since that's the value that we're subtracting from, and the value that we're subtracting will make sure is as less as possible so that in the end we have maximum left over. अच्छा, ये आपके 5 cent coins थे और ये आपके 10 cent coins थे, ठीक है. अच्छा, जो 5 cent coin है उसके diameter का upper bound is 21.25. Okay, that is the diameter of one coin. So we have to multiply that by 10. And as far as the 10 cent coin is concerned, the lower bound of its diameter was 17.85. And we'll have to multiply this by 10 also. Okay, so let's work this out. So we have 10 times 21.25 minus 10 times 17.85. What's that equal to? That's equal to 34. So there we go. 34 millimeter. Make sure that you've read the question carefully और question में कोई catch ना हो. Catch in the sense कि कोई आपको value convert करनी हो, something like that. अच्छा, I don't think... Okay, this is nice. This is a nice question. The upper bound, चले मैं एक काम करता हूँ. So can we take upper bound of 10 cent and lower bound of 5 cent? Nope. You can't do that. फिर तो आपका आंसर नेगेटिव में आ जाएगा, नहीं? Predicted paper? No, I'm not going to upload a predicted paper. I will, however, do a live mock, inshallah, tomorrow. Let me figure out the time. I'll announce the time tonight, so I'll do a live mock tomorrow. 4th May ko stream. Yeah, 4th May ko I will do a stream of, I think, the syllabus run through, the topics that are left. So yeah. I don't do predicted papers, guys. No one noticed the Marlin shoutouts Irsad gave? I gave a shoutout? To who? Live mock sessions. Sessions तो नहीं हो पाएगा. ठीक है, I don't think I'll have sessions, but I'll probably have one session. ठीक है. अच्छा, I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to solve this. And when you guys are done, please do share your answer in the chat box. Okay, solve किया किसी ने या आप लोग बातें ही कर रहे थे? Okay, I can see some answers. That's nice. 3.7, 3.95, 3.91. Okay, चलो check कर लेते हैं. इसमें the keyword is that the area that you're given is actually the upper bound. Okay. So I think I know a common mistake that you guys are making, and I think I know the reason why. Maybe you're not reading the question carefully. What is area equal to? Area is equals to length times width. Now, if you've been given the upper bound of the area, that means you must have used the upper bound of the length and the upper bound of the width. Now, as far as the length is concerned, we are given that the length is equals to 2.3, okay, which is correct to the nearest 0.1 meters. So let's divide 0.1 by 2. What do we get? We get 0.05, which means the upper bound will be 2.35, the lower bound will be 2.25. ठीक हो गया? Now, the area we are already given the upper bound of, so that's 8.8125. Now, what's the upper bound of the length? The upper bound of the length is 2.35. The thing is, अच्छा sorry, मैंने length और width को swap कर दिया, सही है, but you guys get the point, I hope. चलो length को हम unknown रख लेते हैं, ठीक है. Width is what's given to us, सही है. So this means that we must have been taking the upper bound of the length and we must have been taking the upper bound of the width, okay. So this means that the upper bound of the length multiplied by the upper bound of the width, which is 2.35, is equal to the upper bound of the area. Now, जब मैं इसको divide कर लूँगा, so what will I get? The length that I will get will actually be the upper bound. Okay, the length that I will get, which is 8.8125 divided by 2.35 is actually what? Is actually the upper bound of the length. And we're not supposed to find out the upper bound. We're supposed to find out the length itself. So 8.8125 divided by 2.35, that's equal to 3.75. ठीक है, अब ये हमारे पास length जिसको question ने D बोला था ये आ गया 3.75. Now 3.75 is not your final answer. Okay, remember 3.75 is what? 3.75 is the upper bound. And how do you think we would have gotten the upper bound? Upper bound आया होगा by simply looking at what it's rounded off correct to the nearest. It's rounded off correct to the nearest 0.1. That must have been divided by 2, which is 0.05. So that means this must have been the actual length, okay? And after doing D plus 0.05, we must have gotten the upper bound, which is 3.75. So what is D equal to? D is equals to 3.75 minus 0.05. And that is equal to the length, which is 3.7. There you go. कितने marks के limits of accuracy आएगा? It can be around, so since it's paper 2, I'm expecting 3 marks. Max 3 marks. You can see, I mean, you don't really have to ask. You can look at the questions that I'm solving and you can see कि इसमें max a question there is 3 marks, or maybe if there are multiple parts, you may come across a 4-mark question, but that's also very rare. Okay. All right. Now, acha, let's do 1 or 2 questions from IGCSE. Here is one. ठीक है, और फिर हम end करते हैं. On a farm, there are 500 hens. Correct to the nearest 10. Okay. Let's write this down. 500 correct to the nearest 10. So 10 divided by 2. That's equal to 5. Now, the upper bound of the hens will be 505. And the lower bound of the hens will be 495. In 1 year, the mean number of eggs laid per hen was 320, correct to the nearest 20. Calculate the upper bound for the total number of eggs all hens lay in that year. Wow. क्या अजीब सवाल है. So let me read it again. In 1 year, the mean number of eggs laid per hen was 320. Correct to the nearest 20. Okay, so 320. Correct to the nearest 20. 20 को 2 से divide करते हैं, which is equal to 10. That means the upper bound will be 330. The lower bound will be 310. Acha, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to calculate the upper bound for the total number of x. Okay. So mean, as we know, is equals to sum divided by the number of people. Okay. Acha, what's the mean? Since we want the upper bound, so we'll take the upper bound of the mean and we will take the upper bound of the hens also. So the upper bound of the mean is 330. Sum हमारे पास नहीं है. But what's the total number of hens? That's 500, and we will take their upper bound, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 505. Okay, now in case anyone's wondering, okay, why am I doing this? So sum is basically equal to mean multiplied by the number of hens. So since you want the upper bound of the total number of eggs, you will take the upper bound of the mean, and you will take the upper bound of the number of hens also. So mean का upper bound is 330. 330 को multiply करते हैं 505 से. So 330 multiplied by 505. Wow, that is way too many eggs. But that's how it is. 166,650. 166,650. There you go. Okay, now let's see what's next. Another farm has 800 hens. Correct to the nearest 20. Calculate the lower bound for the difference between the number of hens on the two farms. Okay, so सबसे पहले तो हम एक काम करते हैं. Let's take 800, and since it's correct to the nearest 20, let's divide it by 2. That's equal to 10. That means the upper bound will be 810. The lower bound will be 790. Now you want the difference between the two farms. Now let's call this farm A, and let's call this farm B. So you want the difference. अच्छा, farm B में ज़्यादा है, farm A में 500 है. That means you will take the number of hens from farm B, and from that you will subtract the number of hens from farm A, and you want the lower bound of the difference. Okay, so you want the lower bound of the difference. If you want the lower bound of the difference, that means the value that you are subtracting from, you will minimize that. The value that you are subtracting, you will maximize that. So what is the smallest number of hens in farm B? That's 790. From this, you will subtract the maximum number of hens in farm A, which is 505. Let's see what we get. So 790 minus 505, that's equal to 285. There we go. ठीक हो गया. Now let's do one more question, I guess, and that's it. कोई और इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन ऐसे बचा नहीं है हमारे पास. I think we've solved all possible questions. Yeah. चलें, so let's keep it till here only. ठीक है. I am going to stop here. I'll inshallah do another stream tomorrow. And tomorrow I am most likely going to take a mock. So I will announce the timings on my Instagram and on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. But आज के लिए काफ़ी है. ठीक है. So सर ट्रिक स्ट्रीम में सॉल्व वर्कशीट का लिंक लगाते हैं. लगाया नहीं है मैंने ट्रिक स्ट्रीम में. चलो मैं लगा दूंगा. ठीक है. Alright, so I'll stop here fellas. See you inshallah tomorrow, most likely either with a mock or maybe with a topical stream, one of the two. So that's it. Take care everyone. Allah Hafiz.